Welcome everyone this evening to the Tuesday, March 9th, 2021 meeting for the Middleton Board of Selectmen. I want to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded and is also being streamed live and can be found on the town website later. I just got a late email from Andy, sorry. So without any further ado, let's go to a reading of the warrant for our first item on the agenda, which is number 2119. Mr. Sheen, if you would.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For payroll on tonight on warrant 2119, we have a total of $715,387. Of that, we have a modest amount for snow removal in the amount of $4,786. On bills payable, we have a total of $796,307. Of that, payroll deductions this week in the amount of $86,603. A couple of other items under accounting, $29,231 for munis support and license. Under Public Works, $23,000 and change for snow and ice removal. Just below that, a new cardiac monitor for the fire department paid out of CARES Act money in the amount of $38,096. And then under MELD, $110,525 for purchase of power. So Sarah Wood has reviewed these and asked the board's approval.
Move to accept as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second, and if I could ask Tim for a roll call vote, please.
Sure. Mr. Pentakis,
Yes.
Mr. Casiotis.
Yes.
All right, we have 3 in favor and 1 present.
Okay, motion carries. Next, we'll take a motion to accept the minutes for the open session minutes of the, help me out here, that's going to be the
February 23rd.
23rd, February 23rd. Thank you, Costa. The February 23rd Selectmen's meeting. A motion to accept the minutes, please.
So moved.
I will second that.
Second. Okay, then if I could again, Tim, ask for a roll call vote. To accept the
So,
minutes.
Mr. Pentakis,
Yes.
Mr. Casiotis,
Yes.
Mr. Creston,
Yes, and I'm back.
and myself. That will make it unanimous.
Very good. Motion carries unanimously this time. Okay, then if we could, Mr. Sheehan, a town administrator update and report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the benefit of the public, the second of the 3 or 4 joint meetings that the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee have every year to discuss the budgets was held last Saturday. Anybody that didn't see that, that will be up on the website before too long. Our prior meeting from February 6th is on the website for anybody who wants to watch that. The meeting this past Saturday was primarily focused on the capital budget, but also had an update on the operating budget for the year that begins on July 1. So that meeting will be posted to the town's website at www.middletonma.gov. If you hover over the government section, the government tab, and then click on video on demand and then Board of Selectmen, and that will be up there in the next couple of days. So the next joint session with the board and the Finance Committee is on March 25th, which is a Thursday evening. That is the formal budget hearing for the coming year, and also a reading of the town meeting warrant. So March 25th at 7 p.m. That will be a Zoom meeting, and you can get residents can get the Zoom login information off the agenda on the town's website. If you go into www.middletonma.gov and then go down into the calendar, that'll be posted at least a few days before the meeting. So as always, residents are encouraged to check out what is happening with respect to the operating and the capital budgets to see how we are proposing to spend tax dollars in the year to come. I had a conversation the other day with a couple of members of the stream team. They informed me that they have decided to postpone the Earth Day activities, which would normally be in April. They have targeted a date of September 12th, and they would like to do that, or they asked me for permission to schedule that for 105 South Main Street, the former golf course. And I enthusiastically gave them the go-ahead to do that. I think it's a great use of that property. And I think it will probably continue to be a great use of the property even after we redevelop it, if we're so fortunate to be able to do that. So we'll have more information and more details as the date gets closer for that. Watching closely the activity in Washington around the COVID Relief Act. I forget the name of the specific name of the bill, but it has been passed by the Senate, expected to be taken up tomorrow by the House. The bill includes funding for states and municipalities, and it looks like there will be about $8 billion for Massachusetts. It's a little unclear how that's going to be split up. Obviously, a portion of that, probably in the order of half of it, I would say, will stay with the state. The rest of it will be, or some of it will be funneled to the cities, towns, and counties for their use. The allowable expenditures seem to fairly closely mirror the CARES Act that was approved last spring, but there's still a lot of details that come out. What we do know is that whatever we get will come in 2 installments. There'll be an installment due 90 days after the act is passed, and it looks like that will be sometime this week or this weekend. And then the second installment would be a year later. So we're continuing to watch that, relying on our associates at the Mass Municipal Association, who are also following that quite closely. And we'll have more information on that as the details start to come into greater focus. A couple of development items for the board and for the public. The work across the street from Memorial Hall continues at 59 South Main Street, adjacent to Angelica's. The developer of that condominium complex has pulled building permits on the first, I think it's a 3-unit building. So he's been moving along pretty well. He started just before the holidays, or I guess right around Thanksgiving, and moving pretty quickly. So glad to see that they're already at the point where they're getting building permits. 97 North Main, which is just north of Essex and Forest, the contractor there had kind of slowed down or ceased work during the course of the winter. He has recently started up again. I think there are 3 or 4 buildings up already, and he started to work again. There's another building or 2 to go there. And I know that they happened to see that they had an open house there last weekend. So glad to see things progressing well in those 2 projects. And obviously with the weather improving, we would expect to see more activity, more construction activity and permitting activity as people get back to work and feel comfortable about getting out and pushing dirt around and banging nails and things like that. So we'll continue to give updates as things break. Finally, the Master Development Planning Committee, which is the group that's working on the plans for 105 South Main Street, the public facilities project. They have started to meet with various stakeholder groups. They met last night with the Master Plan Committee. They've met with the Friends of the Council on Aging and the Council on Aging Board, and they will continue to meet with stakeholders throughout the coming months up until town meeting to present the project to folks, hopefully build support for it, answer any questions. What we're finding, and I've been at most of these meetings so far, is there's almost always something that comes out that we hadn't thought about or we hadn't thought about it in the way that it's being asked. So it's a very helpful process for the committee to go through and flesh out some of these questions that sometimes, because we're so close to it, they're not completely obvious to us. So it's been helpful. Generally, or overwhelmingly, the response has been positive from the groups that they've met with so far. So we'll continue. We've got a list of about 25 or 30 groups that we'll be meeting with, from business groups, boards and committees, neighborhood groups, you name it. So, and the committee will be back before this board, certainly before town meeting, to make a final presentation, and also we'll be reaching out to the finance committee to present to them as well. So that's what I've got for updates tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. We can, without any other discussion, then we can move on to item number 2, which is our public comment period, as requested by the residents of Middleton, where every selectmen's meeting, we take time out at the top of every meeting to provide time for any resident who would like to come on and perhaps give us a public comment. I'll double check with you, Tanya, but I don't know if I see anyone up currently.
Don't believe so, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, then. Again, we welcome residents to have a public comment, should they have one, to sign in to our biweekly meetings and take the privilege to speak with us. All right, on to item number 3, which will be an update and discussion on the special town meeting originally scheduled for January 28, 2021. Was continued to February 25, 21. I don't know if it's Madam Moderator or Mr. Sheehan to address this right now.
It will be Madam Moderator.
Thank you. If you would, Barbara, please.
For the win.
Thank you. Well, as you may recall, and Rick, as you so capably summarized, this is, I think, my 3rd time here, because we continued it from January to February, February to March, and here I am again, suggesting to you that I don't think it's realistic for us to have a special town meeting in March. I think we would all agree that COVID concerns remain, and we don't have a safe indoor venue to hold a special town meeting. And it's clearly too early weather-wise to have a town meeting outside. So unless I hear any objections from any of you, it's my intention to continue the special town meeting again. This continuance would bring us to late April, probably around April 22nd. And at that point, hopefully I can continue the meeting only one more time, which would bring us to an annual town meeting date. And we could include this special town meeting with the annual town meeting, hold them at the same time in a safe outdoor venue.
Okay, so that would be, I could see it being perhaps at the top, perhaps of our annual. Is that the idea with that?
Probably. We'll have to figure out how we want to organize things. It's my intention to also utilize a consent agenda on some of the warrant articles in the main meeting to sort of figure out if there's a way to expedite things, because I know there are an awful lot of articles on the main agenda, main warrant.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I could, if there's one additional extension past this that you have within your authority, Barbara,
Yeah.
that means the latest that this could go to is about what, May 25th, 28th, somewhere around there?
Right. So we might even have to do another one after that, depending on when the annual town meeting is.
So
running.
is there an authority to extend beyond May?
Yeah.
Oh, there is. Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you said.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just being optimistic.
Okay, I thought you meant there was only one more that you could actually do. Okay, understood.
All right. Well, thank you, Barbara, for that update. Clearly for the topic that it is, I would recuse myself from making comment other than, has there been a tone or the desire changed at all? Or does that even matter at this point from the initial petition as to where we are now? I don't know. I mean, they wouldn't be talking to me about it, but I guess.
Right. It really doesn't matter because
It does,
we're
okay.
still mandated by law to hold a
Okay.
special town meeting unless the article was somehow withdrawn, and that would require all the people that signed the petition to sign a new petition, I think, and with
Okay.
the article.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you again, Barbara.
Thank you.
Then we will, so we will continue this then, if I'm not mistaken, to April 4th,
April 22nd.
22nd, my bad, sorry. Okay, thank you again. All right, without any further discussion on that, then we shall move to item number 4, which is a review and vote to adopt a license fee for Class 1 auto dealers licenses. The recommended fee is $200. Is this something an extra from our annual license, our fee votes, or?
It is, Mr. Chairman, and we'll see at the next, I think it's on for the next meeting. We have received an application for a Class 1 auto license. Class 1 is new vehicles, and we do not have any
that's
Class
right.
1 dealerships in town.
That's right.
And therefore, we've never adopted a fee. So it made sense to adopt a fee now so that we have that have that in place for this application and for the future. The fee is the maximum fee under the statute is $200. Our current Class 2 fee, which is used cars, is $200, and that's what I'm recommending for
Okay.
the Class 1 fee as well.
So
Okay.
Andy, you're telling me that under the law, so for example, any of the new car dealerships that are on 114 in Danvers or Peabody, their annual fee is $200?
That's correct.
Wow.
I know.
I'm actually very surprised by that. Yeah.
So we're actually making something we don't have is to create an exclusive Class 1.
That's correct.
Okay.
So Andy, just one other question. Andy,
Go
we
ahead.
have never had a Class 1 fee structure or process because we've never had anybody that's come before us for a Class 1? Or is this a case that there was a decision by previous boards to not have such a fee, have such a license?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any past history about it, that there was any kind of a determination that we didn't want that type of a use. So I have to believe that it is the lack of market interest that drove it in the past.
I think if I could historically speak, I'm sorry, I was going to say historically speaking, I remember when Dunkin's went in, and at the time it was Burger King. Those in favor of it was to try to avoid that, Middleton's portion of Route 114 resembled that at the time of what was down on in Andover. On Andover Street in Danvers. I just recall that back in the history that there was a tone that, something they wanted to stay away from, and that was what they used to speak in favor of the other commercial, developments that went in place. Sorry, Tim.
No, I was just gonna say in my 20 plus years, it's never been brought up.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going way back. Okay. All right, then, if I could, I'll take
I'll make a motion that we
motion. Right.
adopt a license fee for Class 1 auto dealers in the amount of $200.
Very good. And
Second.
And a second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Tim, if you could take a roll call vote, please.
Sure. Mr. Prokopis,
Yes.
Mr. Creston,
Yes.
Mr. Cassiotis,
Yes.
and myself here.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously, and we will. I don't know where it's going to go, down there in the area, but we now have a Class 1 auto dealer's license. Let's see, so All right, then with that, we'll move to number 5, which is a review and vote on an entertainment license for Serendi Catering Corp. doing business as Maggie's Farm at 189 South Main Street to include live music and televisions. The detailed hours are listed on the application. I'll look through the packet. And I'm gonna, I guess, turn it over to Melissa Ogden, but that would be your chance to address us on that. All right, good evening, and why don't you go ahead?
Good evening, Melissa Ogden of Man on behalf of Serendi Catering Corp. Doing business as Maggie's, and we're here to request approval of the entertainment license application for televisions and live entertainment at the premises at 189 South Main Street in Middleton.
Is this, the music and the television, is that going to be indoors or on the outdoor area as well?
Indoors. It's indoors.
So if I could ask a question on that. So, hi, Melissa, how are you?
Hi, Brian. Mr. Cresta.
I've actually been into the new Maggie's. It's really nice in the inside. They did a really nice job. One thing I noticed is going out to what will be the outdoor dining area. There are 2 or maybe 3, lack of a better term, massive garage doors that I believe would open up and have kind of an open movement from the inside of the building out to the outdoor area. So one of the questions I have is if there was live music, because when Maggie's was before us with Jill, there was question on the outdoor seating, and we had made an agreement on the outdoor seating that there wouldn't be any outdoor entertainment, mainly for the noise for some of the abutters, maybe not the direct abutters, but the nearby abutters where it moves into residential. So one of the questions I have is are there any plans to mitigate what would be live music if those large garage door like openings were opened?
I don't know if Jill wants to step in because she was part of the original.
Sorry.
She's
Jill,
actually here too.
Hi, Jill.
I didn't even see you here, Jill. Hi.
No worries. Good evening, Jill Mann. I'm here with Melissa from Man. Mr. Cresta, we absolutely agreed to that, and we absolutely intend on honoring that commitment. The mitigation would be, to the extent there was live music, those doors would have to be closed if music were even close to that area and could be heard from the outside. We have no intent at all to have that area be anything other than a place to sit. I mean, I guess I think of it as that place that's near the water in Gloucester. Don't want to really advertise everybody else, but they have a nice outdoor seating area as well. And there's no entertainment, and we would be very much the same.
Okay, no, understood. Because I was in there a couple of weeks ago and I noticed the big doors. And again,
Hey, did
Jill,
you park
nice job.
easily or what?
I did. I blocked your car in. I had no problem. So
He felt bad for the people in the building next door who will never be.
Oh, those people next door in that brown building?
Yeah.
They're horrible.
yeah, I
Never
blocked
be
in
able
that
to
car.
park.
No. That's why. And honestly, the building came out really nice in the inside.
Thank you.
And that was my only question. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cresta.
Okay.
I would make a motion to approve the entertainment license for Maggie's Farm at 189 South Main Street.
Very good. In a second,
Second,
we have a motion and a second, and if we could, Mr. Hooton, once again,
No,
say
Mr.
roll call.
Frandakis,
yes.
Mr. Cresta,
Yes.
Mr. Cassiotis,
Yes.
and myself, yes.
Thank
Okay.
you very much. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You're welcome. Carries unanimously. Okay, so now on to another one. Number 6 is going to be a review and vote on application from Man on behalf of Serendi Catering Corp. doing business as Maggie's Farm at 119 South Main Street, license number 00036 RS0704 for approval to transfer the on-premise restaurant all alcohol liquor license, common victualers license, and entertainment license to North Shore Cantina Incorporated, doing business as Concho's manager Max Arvidson will be remaining the same. So that's who's on the license currently. The old Maggie's is Max Arvidson. Is that
Yes, that's correct.
okay? Sorry for that long-winded
That's okay.
explanation of that, but if you would, Melissa or Jill, if
Yep.
you want to.
Melissa Ogden of Man on behalf of North Shore Cantina Inc., doing business as Chancho's and Serendi Catering Corp. We're here to request approval of the entertainment license, the common victualers license, and the transfer of the license, the all alcoholic beverages license from Serendi Catering Corp. to North Shore Cantina Inc. Our proposed restaurant is a 2,900 square foot restaurant in the existing Maggie's farm at 119. And the new restaurant will be serving Southern California SoCal Mexican food. It will include the bar area, and our manager will be Max Arvidsson, who, as was previously explained, was the current licensed manager at the license at 119 South Main Street.
When is it
We're also-
opening?
Yeah, as soon as you approve the license,
Yes.
basically, seriously, as soon as the ABCC, if this board chooses to approve the transfer, upon the issuance by the ABCC of the approval, then back to you, you issue, and then it would open. That we're just waiting for that process.
Do you want to say anything else about the business by way of advertising?
Yeah, it's going to be excellent. Beautiful Mexican food. Middleton's never had it. Now we're getting to be, really be put on the map at 114 for our restaurants. It's part of the Serendi group. So it's going to maintain that high quality. And Melissa can probably add more, but Max is a wonderful manager. He really does oversee the execution of the property beautifully. And I think you can tell by the buildings themselves that the Serendi group really takes pride in its properties. They're clean, they're well run. Whenever the board asks them to make a change or do something different, they immediately do so. And I think that, one more restaurant by Serendi in this town is, a tremendous benefit to our community.
Well, I had two questions, and Melissa answered the first one, which was it's pronounced chanchos, because I get asked that a lot. And here's a personal question. Is the mural gone?
It's in the new Maggie's.
And the new Maggie's.
Yes.
Oh.
It's beautiful. It's a little bit bigger too.
I've only gotten takeout, so I didn't know.
Okay.
Peek your head around the corner. It's a really nice mural.
Okay. Then in that case, I would make a motion to approve the transfer of the on-premise all alcohol liquor license, the common eviction license, and entertainment license to North Shore Cantina Inc., DBA Country.
Before a second, if I could, in the interest of process, I didn't know if we should mention that that this was a virtual public hearing. I don't know if there's mentioning or not, but I do see that in the legal notice. So I just wanted to put that out there. I don't know if anyone's here to speak on that, but I just want to make sure we put that out there. Okay, so we have, if not, we have a motion, and
I will second that motion.
Thank you, sir. And if you could, Mr. Hooton, a roll call vote.
Mr. Pentakis,
Yes.
Mr. Cresta,
Yes.
Mr. Cassiotis,
Yes.
and myself, yes.
Thank you very,
Thank
very
you.
much. Oh, and I see Max is on here. I don't see him as being unmuted, but
He's hard. He's hard.
he's very happy.
He's harding. Hardison.
He's hiding. Everybody hides, don't they? Thank you very, very much for your time. I hope to see you next door soon, right? Without a mask, by the way, I hope.
Well, Max took the episode, like I said in court one time, a judge said, do you want to be heard or do you want to win?
Yeah. Hey, in my case, a little of both.
Good.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thank you again.
All right. You're welcome.
Good night.
Good luck very much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay. Okay. So with that, we can move on to item number 8, which is begin review of the warrant for the 2021 Middleton Annual Town Meeting. Mr. Sheehan, if you would.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't know how, I'll leave it up to the board in terms of how detailed you want me to go through this tonight. We've talked about parts of the warrant already. We'll talk about it in detail on the 25th when we do the joint meeting with the Finance Committee. I did want to let the board know that there probably one article coming off, which is Article 6. That is an article we thought we needed, but it turns out that we don't need, and that's a reallocation of capital funds from prior years. We can just close those out without town meeting action. And then the other would be not another article, but a change to Article 32. Article 32 adds another revolving fund. That one is for the existing article is for sidewalk and pedestrian improvement revolving fund. We would like to also add within that article a revolving fund that deals with the cruiser fee that we charge for details. Currently, that those funds go into a donation account, and they kind of just sit there, and they're not as accessible in that setup. So Sarah Wood has suggested that we adopt a revolving fund, and we can put the funds into there, and then use that money for vehicle maintenance and repair and things like that. So, but I'll leave it up to the board to how you'd like me to go through it tonight.
Andy, I don't really feel a need to go through each item. I just like to do changes, but here's a procedure. I'm going to make a big assumption. I'm going to make a big assumption that we're not having a special town meeting until the regular town meeting. If that were to occur, the Cudmore article, would we put that on the regular town meeting? I don't know if it's kind of fair to put it on the special where we're just, but I'm more point on board on it. What do we think?
So the way we've got it structured is the two petition articles, the Peachy petition regarding the police chief and the Cudmore petition regarding Locust Street. Those are both on the special. Those are the only two items in the special town meeting, and those would be addressed at the start of the meeting. So we would do this presumably. Obviously, that's up to you as the callers of the meeting. But what I'm suggesting is that we start with the special, dispose of those two special town meeting articles, and then go into the annual town meeting. But it's up to you to
I was just more wondering
to structure it.
No,
I don't think you can take the. Trying to think if you could take the Peachy article and put it into the annual. I don't really think
No, I
it's
wasn't looking
appropriate
at
to
the
do so.
PCI article into the annual.
Yeah, it's more the Cudmore article.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it makes sense to have that in the special, and quite honestly, I think the agreement we had made was the next meeting that would be held, town meeting, whether it's special or annual. So, and I agree with Tim. I don't think we have to dive through every one of these warrant articles, but I actually had one question on warrant article 6 that is being pulled. Are we not reallocating those former warrant article dollars and just going to send those dollars into future free cash? Is that the
That's
plan?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
We've done it both ways in the past. We've repurposed, and it's clunky, I guess is the best way to say it, because you're asking to take those funds that were appropriated before for a particular purpose under a particular article in a particular town meeting, and use those for a new purpose. And then you've got to massage it in such a way that if you've got $15,000 from an old article, you're putting it towards a new $15,000 article. And so it's hard to make the math work sometimes smoothly. And so it's easier to just close them out and let them go to free cash, and then they become available next year.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
only make sense
especially-
if we had a free cash shortage and we were struggling and we needed the dollars this year. We don't.
Yeah, and since we moved to the capital budget, it makes, a lot more sense just, to let it go to free cash and then just reappropriate it for at a future. When we had each capital item was basically its own warrant article, it made
right.
more sense. On the Masco Regional Agreement Amendment, there is, I believe, the other two towns are doing, each amendment as a separate article. So I think we should follow suit. But Barbara, can we discuss and vote on all four as a group?
We could group them into a consent agenda. possibly, and vote on them as a group. The residents have the ability to object to that and want to parse them out, but it would probably be unlikely that would happen. Unless
And the other two towns their governments are in support of these, each of the four changes. So I expect that, all three towns will approve them.
And all three towns are using the same language.
Yeah, Topsfield especially, wanted Masco to provide the language. So Mike Harvey and the district council will be providing language.
Right. So they took Middleton's language, also known as the Printakis language. And their council has reviewed that. So it looks like he's okay with the language as it's been structured. They've asked that all three towns approach it the same way. No obligation, obviously. Each town could split it up into 12 different articles if they wanted to, but it seems like everybody's trying to do it in concert with each other.
Right.
I thought Topsfield was not supportive of any warrant article items as it related to Masco.
For the district agreement, they are. I mean,
Okay.
they had the amendment that was initially proposed, monthly assessment payments. They objected to that, and that was reworked to keep it quarterly, but advance the payment, due date a couple of weeks, and then they were fine with that. And the one that got most discussion was, the article about rolling into a 5-year average for enrollment and for assessment purposes. And that was finally, Topsfield and Boxford's FinComs and Selectmen's are on board with starting with FY23. There'll be a 2-year, then a 3-year, then a 4-year, and then a 5-year the following year, and forever forward until it changed.
And this will be a single decision that will roll it. It won't be in every year making the decision on.
Correct.
Okay.
It's
All right. Okay. All right. If there's nothing else, then
The only thing I'd add to that, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, if I might, and since the moderator and the clerk are both on, we're trying to figure out the when and the where of holding a town meeting. We've looked at a couple of places in town to have it. Masco, for the most part, is not available until mid-June because of other commitments that they have. So we've narrowed it down to a couple of locations here, and trying to figure out the best way to try to do that. It would be what we'll propose is a Saturday meeting because of the volume that we've got, obviously with the facilities project, that we expect that will generate a lot of interest. We've got a long annual meeting anyways because of the items that we carried over from last year and the fact that we didn't have a special in the fall to dispose of some of them. So it's a 36 article meeting, which is not not particularly large in numbers. I think my first town meeting we were at 52 or 54 or something like that, and we've tried to consolidate. But obviously with the facilities project, that that's going to generate some interest. So we're trying to find a venue that is big enough to put people and allow them to socially distance, and also that has enough parking. So we will. We're committed to having a recommendation for you in 2 weeks at your next regular meeting on both the date the venue and a rain date and some of the
Yeah.
logistics that go along with that.
Yeah, are you contemplating putting up a tent or just open air?
We've talked about both. And there's benefits of both. It's hard to get if we're to assume that we're going to have 600-800 people, 1,000 people, hard to put enough tent up to accommodate all of those bodies. Does it make sense to have one tent and let people fight for the space under the tent if it's a little inclement but not awful? I don't know. So there's a lot to these with tents or no tents. Do we provide chairs or tell people to bring their own? All the audio visual pieces that go along with this, trying to make sure that we set up in such a way that we don't put the screen so that there is glare that prevents anybody more than 30 feet away from being able to see what's on the screen, or multiple screens. So a lot of pieces to it. We're going to try to learn from our colleagues in other communities that did this last year and figure out the best approach that can accommodate everybody.
Andy, have you reached out to Essex Tech?
We went over there today, Brian, and we looked at the field and I emailed Barbara and Eileen just before the meeting. I did a count of the parking spaces over there. The field is beautiful, and we could accommodate a lot of people there. We could accommodate more people there, I think, than we could at the Masco High School field. The only concern I have is that there's only about 120 parking spaces really proximate to the field. There's another 120 or so in front of the building, and then there's another batch to the west as you going back towards Middleton.
It's more than we have at Howe Manning.
It is, yeah, it sure is, and so it's a bit of a walk if you show up at 10 minutes before the meeting starts, and all the good spaces are taken. It's a bit of a hike, but it is. It's an attractive spot, I'll tell you. And there are also some spaces across the street at the old Aggie complex. So that is one of the places. We're looking also at behind Memorial Hall in the field here, if we can secure parking from Angelica's across the street, and we have not reached out to them yet. And we also looked at the golf course, which we don't think works because of topography, and probably because of parking, and that would kind of be ideal for the facilities project discussion. And we also looked at Natsu Way, where we have Chief Will's Day up at the top, and that's a beautiful field, but again, parking is a challenge there. And I think it's one thing to ask people to walk for Chief Will's Day; it's a different thing to ask them to walk for a town meeting. And so, but we're going to continue to work through all of that and come up with a recommendation to bring to you in 2 weeks.
So you had mentioned Memorial Hall and back, and possibly parking at Angelica's. What about the opposite, possibly using the Angelica's parking lot?
Yeah, so we did talk about that. We ruled that out because when you use the parking lot for all the bodies, you end up with not enough parking. There's only 40 or 50 parking spaces here at Memorial Hall, and not a lot that outside of this facility that people could take advantage of. So, but we did think of that, and we think that the flip is better if Angelica's is available.
And could also use the golf course for parking.
Yeah, and we could. And again, it's a bit of a hike. You do have sidewalks the whole way, but it's a bit of a jaunt. The other drawback of holding the meeting in Angelica's parking lot, and it's the same at the golf course, is the noise off of 114. And you don't get that as pronounced in the back. It gets blocked by the buildings that line Route 114. And so, if we're the best place from a topographic standpoint, the best place to have it at the golf course would be in the front, but the noise, I think, would be prohibitive. Even today, where the wind was blowing from the clubhouse towards the street, it was noisy enough that we think that people would have struggled to hear a PA system. If the wind was blowing from the street into the site, it would be almost impossible. And so I think you would have the same potential situation if we were in the Angelica's parking lot. And Barb and Eileen, I don't mean to hog this conversation. If you have anything you'd like to add.
No, I think we're all in agreement based on what we saw today. I mean, the biggest challenge I think that we found was really the limited parking. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been our problem with town meeting, period. Even at Town Manning has been limited parking, and not that I'm asking for everybody to be every man for themselves, but somehow it works for town meeting at Howe Manning. And thanks to people like Paul Richardson allowing parking in his parking lots and on the street, and the neighbors putting up with it during the, once a year, 3-hour ordeal. So intrigued by the maybe Memorial Hall with Angelica's parking lot as parking, which would, really facilitate just a single crossing of 114 with police presence would maybe help solve some of that. Because we would just have all the parking over there and use both the parking lot and the grass area if needed.
Well, I was going to say, how much, Andy, have you thought of actually using the field? Is that, I know there's the playground in the way or whatever, I don't know, but.
It would be primarily in the field.
The meeting would
be in the field, okay.
Years ago, we used to have the retirement parties out there, and they had 2 big tents lining the field. And we used Angelica's to park as well. So it can work. I mean, I don't know how it'll be if we have 1,000 people, but we'll have to see.
It's hard when we don't know how many people to expect.
How many people did we have, if anybody has the recollection, during the Howe Manning approval?
800 or 900.
Over 900.
It was actually over. We were over capacity. We were down at the Vogue. The old Vogue.
The old Vogue, yeah.
And remember parking down there?
Yeah, it made Howe Manning look like a breeze.
And we were
Yeah,
on
so
900,
we were over
I think.
900. Because I looked at that not too long ago.
And we were 900 for Natsu, right? Or give or take.
We were over that. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we were, and a lot of people left. Because they absolutely couldn't get in.
So those are the places we're looking. We're also in contact with town council to check on their availability, because all of their client communities are kind of in the same boat. And our council, Jay Tallerman, our lead council, is also his town meeting moderator. So there's going to be a lot of challenge to get them available, but we know they'll be able to figure it out one way or another.
Right. Okay. Thank you for all your efforts, you guys, in that area. That's challenge is an understatement for what we have coming down the pike. Okay, so with discussion concluded with that, then if I can, I'll move on to ask for a vote to appoint Linda Cornell to the Council on Aging with a term through June 30th, 2022.
So moved.
In a second.
Second,
Thank you, sir. Thank you. If I could, Tim, please, a vote.
Mr. Prokakis,
Yes.
Mr. Cresta,
Yes.
Mr. Cassiodi,
Yes.
and myself.
Okay, I don't see her here this evening, but thank you very much to Linda Cornell for your willingness to participate and join what's an already good team down there with the that we have on the COA.
Mr. Chairman, if I could jump in just on a personal note, Linda is taking the place of Carol Carr. Carol stepped away last year, and she was a longtime member of the COA and somebody that I've gotten to know over the years. And so just wanted to express my thanks to Carol for the years that she put in on the COA. She's also been an active member of the Board of Trade. So, and just a really lovely, funny lady.
A really good point. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Thank you very much, Carol Carr, for your years of service for the Council of Aging. All right, so we have Linda appointed, and now we can move to vote and accept the following gifts and donations. One is from the New England Biolabs, which is located down in let's see, on Log Bridge Road. And the name of that building is escaping me right now. I don't know what. It's North Shore Business thing or whatever.
Sure, Business Center.
Thank you, sir. New England Biolabs in the amount of $5,000 to the Middleton Senior Center, as well an additional anonymous donation of $500 to the Middleton Food Pantry.
Move we accept with thanks.
Second.
Motion and a second with thanks. And I would ask Mr. Hooton for a vote. Call a vote, please.
Sure. Mr. Prentakis,
Yes.
Mr. Cresta,
Yes.
Mr. Cassiotis,
Yes.
and myself.
Okay. Again, additional thanks to New England Biolabs and the anonymous donor. Thank you very much. Very generous. If we have nothing else, and I'm not aware of any new business or any other topics that we need to discuss,
Make a motion to adjourn.
I will take the motion to adjourn, Mr. Hooton. Thank you very much, and thank everyone for attending tonight.